Hello, world. Welcome to another installment of Fractal Radio, the official vlog slash podcast of the Fractal Journal. The Fractal Journal is a website where you'll find stories, essays, and more. So, recently, I've been covering articles that I find in places like Vanity Fair, The New Yorker, etc. This article that I'm about to talk about comes from The New Yorker. It's called Shock to the System, written by Dana Goodyear. And before I begin to talk about that, I'd like to talk about another author, Fred Reed, who's written several books and has a somewhat popular internet column, which he's actually sort of been in the blogosphere for a very long time. Now, one of the things that Fred Reed did was he went out on police beats as a reporter. And as such, he gained an understanding of the street trades, which you can read about on his website, fredoneverything.org. I'm going to read a snippet from one of his articles published in May 22nd, 2001, called Test Yourself in a Dark Alley. The very last paragraph reads, "Think about trying it in a dark alley. After sprinting 100 yards, chasing a criminal who, as a matter of statistical fact, is quite likely to be armed, but may not be. Very likely someone will die. You, because it was a gun and you waited to see, or him, because, gun or not, you didn't wait." Now, there was another article where Mr. Reed talked about how often cops say, "I'm going home tonight," meaning that they're going home to see their families. And if you're acting suspiciously around a police officer, that is most unwise. Because another great article here points out the fact that police don't really get to practice much because, first of all, and this is something I'm extrapolating from an older article, not this one that I'm currently looking at called Advice for Violent Felons, police don't really fire weapons that often. They're not used to those situations. And a part of that has to do with the fact that they don't have adequate funding for ammunition. Ammunition to go and shoot at the shooting range costs quite a pretty penny. And I believe that some police departments, if not many, are somewhat underfunded, as well as, of course, facing problems of probably embezzlement and all sorts of things. Now, the last paragraph of Advice for Violent Felons reads, "Whether people choose to believe it or not, cops, as a rule, don't walk up to people and open fire." You know, maybe it's been a slow shift and they just want something to do, but they aren't mind readers, are not well trained for combat, do not shoot much as a rule, either on the range or on the street, and seldom have the semi-psychopathic coldness you sometimes see in serious soldiers, and they don't want to be killed. I know it's unreasonable, but it's how they are. Don't force them to decide whether to shoot. Try giving them your ID instead. And I think that's definitely solid advice. Now, what does Fred Reed's column, which you can find again at fredoneverything.org, have to do with the present article, Shock to the System? Well, one of the stated goals for this company, Axon, which sprang out of Taser, is, "We are the tech company that's going to make the world less violent." And that's coming from their co-founder and CEO, Rick Smith. One of the things that is being done, since tasers have already saturated the market, is the company Taser, now Axon, provided cameras. That was their Act 2, as per this article. And this comes with a host of other services that kind of emerge by association, by necessity. And this, of course, is storage and analysis of data. And this is where it gets interesting. Potentially a force for good, potentially a force for something a touch Orwellian. Because, again, a quote from Rick Smith, "We see an opportunity to build the public safety nervous system." So, what would that look like? Quote from the article, "Axon's products are designed to transform police work. Already, it is testing software aided by artificial intelligence that can automatically transcribe dialogue and collect identification information, capabilities that could one day obviate written reports. In the near future, its software may be able to search databases to create a detailed portrait of a suspect, including a Facebook-like network of his prior arrests, properties he's associated with, and people to whom he is connected. Now, again, everything that we create to solve a problem can in itself cause problems, which is actually one of the observations on business that Mr. Smith gave to the interviewer. Solutions that create problems in need of solutions. That, he told me, is the definition of business. So this would potentially, in my eyes, create a somewhat vulnerable and exploitable system in that it can be hacked. Digital systems, while useful, are prone to being hacked, and also all sorts of malfunctions, and there's always the human element of misinterpretation of data or faulty use. Again, the article goes on to discuss this, and it's not terribly lengthy, but it's long enough to where I am going to do several videos, at least one more, on this. This is just a little teaser at the beginning of the week as I'm getting myself into gear. So, thanks so much for listening. Check out Fred Reed's website, fredoneverything.org. Please visit my website, www.fractaljournal.com. And if you are on WordPress, subscribe if you like my content, because I am going to be doing these vlogs/podcasts on a fairly regular basis, and I post a story every Tuesday and Thursday and try to really put forth as much content as time allows me. If you like this video and you're on YouTube, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously YouTube algorithm-wise, and consider supporting independent media by donating to my Patreon. Thanks again so much for stopping by, and take care.